Charles Gould is here, Director General of the ICA, the International Cooperative Alliance. Let's talk about next year, Charles.
Yes.
2012, the UN has declared this to be the International Year of Cooperatives.
Yes.
What are you planning to do to make the most of it?
Well, the ICA Global Board spent a considerable amount of time when we realized that we had achieved this, that we had an international year coming for cooperatives, and talk through what is it that we should do this year. What should we really make sure we accomplish? And they said, let's do one thing and let's do it really well. And when they looked at all the possibilities, they felt that what this year lends itself to that most years don't is the opportunity to use the UN name, the attention it can bring for a public awareness campaign, to really break through all the messages that people are exposed to, and to really make sure that we raise public awareness of cooperatives as a values-based business model. So we have plans underway for that. There is a slogan for the year.
Okay, what's the slogan?
The slogan is Cooperative Enterprises Build a Better World. And we worked hard to get enterprises as part of that slogan because it's important to us that people recognize that this is a serious business model, that this is a model that they should be thinking of at a macro level, not just as something for their communities, but this is a scalable model that can really work well. It does work well across the globe. There'll be a logo that will be released on March 17th, and the strategy for ICA is to encourage our members and their members to use the slogan and the logo together with the website, which will be www.2012.coop, and to use that in all of their existing marketing and communication channels so that we can tap into the expenses that are already being incurred for this, the channels we already have for getting these messages out, which is the most cost-effective way to have this uniform message distributed around the world to the public. And to use that then to drive people toward this website where they can learn more. Obviously, in a global campaign like this, we can't get deeply into all of the principles and values of cooperatives and how they work and how many sectors we work in. But we want to have that common message and then to surprise the public by the number of times they see that in different sectors.
Let's focus on the key messages for the year.
Okay.
I think you've got 3 key messages you want to get across.
We do, and these are not the words that people will see necessarily, but these are the underlying messages that we want to demonstrate. When they come to our website, they'll see a different story every day about a cooperative. So 366 stories. It turns out 2012 is a leap year, so we'll have a new story about a new cooperative every day. And in seeing that, they'll see the breadth, the scope, the diversity, the geographic diversity, diversity in size, diversity by sector of cooperatives. There'll be a news feed there where they see stories coming from around the world, and they'll see the cooperative perspective, and then there'll be content about what it means to be a cooperative. And we want them to realize through those experiences 3 key messages. The first is that cooperatives are a serious business model. And that's an important message to get across. Now, obviously, they're much more than that, but that's the breakthrough we have to have, is we have to get people to understand that these are a serious business model. So that's message number 1. Message number 2 is that cooperatives are values-based. We're all about sustainability and fair banking and access to services, and that this is integral to what it means to be a cooperative. This is not something we've adopted for corporate social responsibility marketing purposes. This is essential to being a cooperative. So we want that message to come across. And then the third message is that the members control the cooperative, that it's a you have a voice message, that you can make a difference, you have a voice in this. This is a responsive way for you to find a solution to the problems that you're facing in your daily lives. So those are the 3 messages that we want to get across. We think that that's going to be very compelling, especially to this next generation. And the younger audience is a key target audience for our message.
Now, UN years come and go.
Yes.
And sometimes after they've gone, it's as if they never happened.
Right.
Looking forward to 2013, what would you hope to have achieved by then?
Well, it is true that some UN years are forgettable. And they're forgettable sometimes because they didn't focus on public awareness. They had a different agenda. Sometimes they preached to the choir. Sometimes we simply weren't the target audience, so they may have met their goals, but we weren't part of that target. What's important for us is to begin to break through the public awareness around cooperatives. And what we would hope to see in the short term is increased engagement of members in the cooperative and increased number of members in cooperatives. The real prize here is not just to do something in 2012, but is to position the cooperative brand, to relaunch the cooperative brand in a way that we can build on in subsequent years, so that 2012 is not the culmination of some series of events. It's the beginning of what will be an ongoing marketing campaign, branding campaign, messaging campaign around cooperatives, so that people do understand what incredible potential this has as a solution for today's challenges.
And a longer-term vision? Have you got a sense of what you'd like to achieve?
We do. If you look toward the end of the decade, a vision that the ICA board is beginning to explore, and I say we're trying this on for size, is whether by the end of this decade, by 2020, cooperatives could be the fastest growing enterprise model. And when you think about years past, it'd be very hard to imagine in some years how you could possibly ever think that could be true. Today, that could just happen. If we work hard, if we take advantage of the year as the beginning of a launch, if we have some luck, if the planets are aligned, if all of this works, that could actually happen. We have a world that recognizes that the other economic systems have failed them at some level. They've been oversold. They have real limits that we didn't know they had. People are hungry for something new. People are hungry for sustainability. They're realizing that we're consuming the world in a way that we can't afford to do that. They recognize it has to change. We have an emerging generation that uses social media in a very essential way for every important part of their lives. They collaborate with one another through social media. They're temperamentally predisposed toward the working together, connecting with one another, aspects of cooperation that's essential to what we want to achieve. And if we can introduce them to that and show them how connected it is with what's in their DNA, we have such an incredible opportunity to really build on that. And by the end of this decade, by 2020, 9 years from now, we could be the fastest growing enterprise model in the world.
That's a very exciting vision. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.